FAA's mandatory flight cuts begin to take effect today as the government shutdown enters a record 38th day, and we're watching the Senate. Let's get to Emily Wilkins in Washington with a look at whether or not Thune's plan is going to work. Emily.
Hey, Carl. Well, look, there is a lot of movement here on Capitol Hill, but it's not clear at this point whether a resolution is going to come anytime soon. So we're hearing the outlines, the contours, if you will, of a potential deal. So this would include partially that stopgap funding that we've been talking about for so long. It would also include actually partially funding, fully funding the government for the next fiscal year. That would include only a couple departments, but things like agriculture, SNAP, veterans, that could all be taken care of for the rest of the fiscal year. Then, of course, you're also hearing about that potential promised vote that Thune has talked about on those Affordable Care Act tax credits. And lastly, we did learn yesterday that there are discussions now about ensuring that some of those federal employees who would have otherwise been fired during the shutdown, making sure that they are able to keep their jobs once the government reopens. However, lawmakers who I talked to still that all of these things are still being negotiated and discussed. It's not even clear if there is going to be a vote today. And that's in part because Thune wants to make sure he has the support of Senate Democrats. But Democrats, they seemed a little more unified after they met yesterday. And Senator Chris Murphy was telling us that after their high of the big election win on Tuesday, they really feel like they can dig in a little bit more, continue to make demands on health care, and continue to try and see if there is some way to keep some of those tax credits low. But at this point, we're not even clear if there is a vote today, if they'll be in this weekend. A lot of discussions happening, but many things are still up in the air. Carl?
Indeed, including whether or not SNAP will get fully funded, some court decisions yesterday and some responses as well. We'll watch it closely, Emily. Thank you, Emily Wilkins.